Hi, y'all. Welcome back. It's your girl, Lady Leo, and we're going to be talking about numerology and life path numbers this go around. So if that's something that you're interested in, if you like content like this, be sure to like, share, subscribe, comment, be sure to engage a lot. So I know that you want more content like this. Okay. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to go through what is numerology, why would it be important or beneficial for you to understand what your life path number is. We're going to go over briefly, just kind of like basic. I don't want to I don't want to flood y'all with trying to drink water from a fire hydrant with it. So we're going to introduce this information to you. And if you like it, if it resonates, that gives you inspiration to go do more research on your own. Okay. All right, hi y'all, how you doing? Welcome. What's going on? Hi TikTok. By the way, the replay is going to be posted to YouTube. So if for some reason I didn't hit your life path number and you wanted wanted to know what it was that I was talking about, you can go there and I'll have it timestamped for you. So it'll be convenient for you to find where it is and what information that it is that you want if you can't stay. Okay. In a little while, I am going to be asking y'all to give me your birthdays, and I'm going to pick a couple. So I'll show you how to break down and find out what your life path number is, or maybe you want to help somebody else find out what their life path number is. So I'm going to help y'all do that. But first, y'all know what we do over here. We're going to cleanse and protect the space always before we tap into any type of energy here. Okay. So if you feel like you've had a lot of negative energy today, if you've been around a lot of Karens and negative Nancy's, Debbie Downers, we're going to cleanse it real quick before we get started with this. Okay. Hey, y'all, how you doing? Welcome. What's going on? Anybody know their life path number? Don't know what that is? So numerology is an ancient metaphysical science meeting the magic of your soul. So numbers are actually a universal language. So those of us that aren't bilingual, right? At least we can communicate with numbers. Think about the matrix, right? Binary codes, all O's and ones, zeros and ones. Let's cleanse your energy. Good juju for you. Cleansing my energy. Good juju for me. How y'all doing? Welcome. We're going to protect real quick. Some Palo Santo. What's going on, y'all? By the way, all my streams are already infused with Holy Fire Reiki. If you want that, all you have to do is say, I'm open and willing to receive. If not, just say, Spirit, don't resonate with me. I decline. I respectfully decline. I'm going to protect your energy. Protect my energy. Oh, you're a 4. Okay. Lots about stability there. There we go. Y'all, this is not a tarot reading this time, okay? We're not talking about tarot. We're not diving into those energies this evening, at least not with this stream. We're going to be specifically talking about numerology. By the way, 111 on the clock here. I'm in the Mississippi, y'all, so I don't know where y'all from, but I'm down here in the dirty South in Mississippi with the critters and the skeeters and the gators and all that kind of stuff and the humidity. Anyway, all right, yeah, so numerology. So numerology is an ancient metaphysical science that is a meeting of your soul, the magic of your soul. Hi, thanks for the loves and all that love and light back to you, Tom Stan. How y'all doing? Thanks for the gifts. Y'all need me to ring the bell already? Dang. Y'all can get me jacked up, or I don't even have the bowl over here. Oh, that's right. That's right. I did a cleansing last night, so my bowl's not even in here. We'll go get the bowl in a minute. Hi, y'all. How you doing? What's going on? All right. So life path number 1. If you are a life path 1, you're the spark that starts the fire. You're not waiting for permission. You are the permission. When you trust your instincts and boldly own your truth, you rise as a powerful force of purpose, passion, and personal power. So think about the number of 1, right? I want you to think leadership. You're the first, right? You're at the top of the list here. You know, what's really interesting is I've got 4 kids. My oldest is a life path 1, my son, and my youngest daughter is a life path 1. So both of them hold that energy of leadership, of, not following, right? They're the way showers or the way finders, that it's about carving your own path, carving your own way. Let's see. I got some more notes over here. That's just what I wrote down, y'all. It's all over the place. And like I said, this is just briefly going over what this is, just kind of introduce you to what this is. Because when we start diving into like this metaphysical science things, whether it's numerology, if we're talking about astrology, the properties of crystals and how to harness that, right? It can be like drinking water from a fire hydrant. It could be like a overwhelming amount of information coming at you. So we're going to break this down into little bite-sized pieces to kind of, build upon. So if y'all are interested in stuff like that, y'all be sure to like, share, follow, subscribe. Y'all let me know that y'all enjoy stuff like this, that you want me to do more live streams like this. Cause usually I'm just up here reading cards, reading the energy and answering questions for y'all, really I'm your mystical cheerleader here to help empower you to break out of your own suffering or your own limitations. All right. So life path number 1 is the leader, the pioneer, and the trailblazer, right? What did I just say? This is about carving your own path. You are the leader, if you're life path 1, you came here to carve your own path, break generational molds. Okay. So if you're a life path 1, you are kind of like your family's leader. Okay. I'm getting kind of like the Fool card in tarot, although the Fool is the energy of 0. It's Aries. It's ruled by Mars, but it's about being your own self. Everybody may look at you like you're the Fool because you're going your own way, and sometimes it may seem like you're taking a harder path, but it's because you're not meant to follow. You're meant to forge the way. Does that make sense? All right, life path 1s. You also rise as fearless innovators. You're not meant to follow the crowd. You're meant to be the one leading it. You embody ambition, courage, and raw determination. You're self-motivated, strong-willed, and wired to initiate new ideas, businesses, or movements. Okay, so you see what I'm saying? So this is that leadership type of thing. And you know what? Not everybody's comfortable in being in that leadership role. It can be really uncomfortable, especially when most of our life we're taught to follow, to fall in line, to be in the box, stay in your lane, right? So it may be uncomfortable for you if you feel like, leadership is something that you kind of shy away from, right? What are some ways you can build your confidence on that and really pull that own natural aspect of yourself out? So life path number 1 core traits is that, you're that natural born leader and self-starters, right? You can self-motivate. And you got to remember, motivation doesn't just show up when we want it to show up. We have to dig that shit out. It's not like you wake up and you're already motivated for the day. You kind of have to build the momentum of that, right? You have to be in a mindset for that. Also, another core trait is independent, driven, and competitive. Yes. You may feel like you were really competitive if you were life path number 1, right? You were the leader. So naturally, you're going to want to be at that top dog spot. Okay. So that kind of sounds like you. That may resonate with you. Maybe you want to dive a little bit deeper on your own on that. Visionary thinker and big goals. This is giving me big like emperor energy, right? Aries energy is what it is that I'm thinking here with this life path number 1. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you're in Aries or, that you resonate with Mars energy. It's just kind of all coupled up there. But yeah, you're a free thinker, that visionary leader. You may see things out in the distance a way that other people may not, and that's a really special thing. So you think differently. That's all right. You don't follow the crowd. You need freedom to express your own individuality. Yeah, I just was talking about that, right? You don't like conforming to the norms. You may not follow certain trends because you're the trendsetter. Whether you want to be or not, you're the trendsetter. Just naturally, you hold that gift. Hi, y'all, how you doing? Welcome. Send all that love and light back to y'all times 10. How y'all doing? TikTok. So you may even struggle with control, ego, or loneliness when unbalanced. Yes, life path number 1. You may struggle with your ego, and that is okay. We get into this new age spirituality stuff, and they talk about, ego death. It doesn't mean that you don't have any ego at all. We got to have that. We're human. That's where our survival instincts are, and you're going to need that as a human here on this earthly realm. Right? But it means that you are in balance, that you have healed that aspect of your ego where it's a healthy ego. Does that make sense? Instead of acting out uncontrollably or chaotically or impulsively from that ego. And that can take a lot of work, and that's okay. That is all right. Everybody's on their own journey at their own pace, and we're going to honor that, okay? So also with loneliness, yeah, when you are a leader, it's hard for people to get with the program, or it kind of seems like with like life path number ones, or just really in general, it's like leadership positions, or like those of you that don't conform, like, of course, people are going to give you a hard time. Why are you doing it different? Why do you feel like, how dare you have the audacity to have your own thoughts and do your own thing different than everybody else, right? Kind of like the ugly duckling, or, you know, you just do things differently, right? So you may get kind of lonely sometimes. So you may feel misunderstood, life path ones. So here's some famous celebrities that have life path ones, just to kind of give you an idea of like a personality trait or just kind of aspects of that. Now, remember, there's so much more that goes into your personality and what makes you uniquely you. So you're not going to look exactly like this. So this is just kind of give you an idea. It's just an example. Okay. Martin Luther King Jr., right? He led a revolutionary movement with vision and conviction. Martin Luther King Jr. was a life path number one. Tom Hanks, a powerful storyteller and respected leader in his field, right? An actor. Have y'all ever seen like Castaway? I love that movie, Castaway. Or Forrest Gump. Run, Forrest, run. Anyway, we got George Washington, okay? The ultimate pioneer as the first United States president. Did you know that George Washington was homeschooled? Isn't that pretty amazing? So then there's Tiger Woods, a focused, ambitious game changer in golf, okay? Lady Gaga, a fearless innovator redefining music and fashion, okay? So yeah, they just think about the aspects of what, not necessarily person, their belief systems, what is that they're attached to, okay? Because I'm not attached to any of that kind of stuff. However, just kind of like the energy of life path number one, okay? So here's some, hold on now. So if you do resonate with that and you want to go do your own research, if you want to expand more on, you know, your own personal numerology path chart, all those things, I do recommend numerology.com. It does like a little brief thing for free, but if you purchase your whole life path number like thing, it's like a whole little booklet, and it's tailored to like your numerology of all the different types of things that go into it. So there's like a destiny number and a different type of numbers in there, but it'll give you the whole thing. Now that's a little bit more expensive, but I do feel like mine resonated a lot with me when I kind of started getting into this stuff, and it just was like mind blowing at how accurate it was and how much it resonated with me and how much insight I got about, you know, certain things, right? So even with like shadow traits, or I think I do have that on here. Did I write down? Yeah, shadow traits. Yeah, we talked about that. Like stubborn, no, being really stubborn, life path number ones. Okay, so that's a shadow side. You could be too stubborn or impatient or a perfectionist, right? So you may isolate or resist help. And learning to balance independence with vulnerability is key. So yeah, life path number one is also one of those, right, the ego, struggling with the ego. Instead of coming from a place of arrogance, you know, you're coming from a place of confidence. So it's kind of like making sure that you kind of keep that balance where like you're being a leader and you're confident in it, but you're not coming from a place of like arrogance. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a huge difference there. Like arrogance is where you're just trying to dominate everything, right? But confidence is where you're giving yourself permission because you know that you're capable of reaching the goal. You also know there's a possibility that might not happen, right? But you're giving yourself permission to go after it, right? You're giving yourself a shot. You're putting all the eggs in your own damn basket, you know? That's not a bad thing, okay? That's confidence. Hi, y'all. How you doing? Welcome. Thank y'all so much for being here. What's going on? Y'all like this type of content? Y'all like learning about this kind of stuff? Y'all like talk about this kind of stuff? All right, life path number two. What's going on, y'all? Send all that love and light back to y'all times 10. All right. So you're the heart-centered healer, the intuitive empath, the one who holds space for others to be seen, heard, and loved. While others lead with power, you lead with presence. And in a loud, chaotic world, your calm, grounded energy is a revolution in its own. All right. Number twos, life path number twos. You are the energy of balance, of duality. Okay. So I want you to think about like yin and yang type of energy or law and order. You know, life path numbers two is about that harmony and that balance, you know. All right, let me see my notes over here. So you're the peacemaker, the diplomat, and the divine supporter. So life path 2 is the number of harmony, balance, intuition, and soulful connection. If you're a life path 2, your soul came here to be a bridge of peace, to bring people together, to love deeply, and to guide with compassion, not control, right? So this is kind of giving me some like Libra vibes, all right? Maybe you resonate with this energy of number 2. But yeah, it's about bringing things together, right? Think about like life path number 1 is the leader, right? Think about self. Life path number 2, we're going to blend 2 different energies together and find that balance, okay? Hi, how you doing? Welcome. All right, so you're intuitive, emotionally intelligent, and empathic, often sensing what others feel before they even say a word. Yes, life path number 2 is you have very strong 1, 2, 3 on the clock. It's all coming together like 1, 2, 3 in steps. Okay, so that's a message for somebody. It's all coming together in steps. So keep going, keep pushing. Don't give up, right? Our biggest blessings are right after our worst and hardest hardships and trials and tribulations. So that was for somebody. All right. So yeah, so you may not seek the spotlight, you shine in the sacred art of collaboration, partnership, and subtle influence. All right. So yeah, always I'll talk about that Libra energy. Oh yes, karma. Okay. Life path number 2, you are walking karma. Whether you want to be or not, whether you realize it or not in the moment, it may even take people a while to realize that coming into contact with you is very karmic, okay? Or you could be very karmic or give dharma as well, right? So it's just your natural energy of bringing balance and harmony to certain situations. So if you're life path number 2 and you're in a very high vibration, you got a good head on your shoulders, you've done a lot of the shadow work, a lot of healing. When you get around other people, they may find you may find them receiving some sort of karma or experiencing karma through you. You're also very intuitive, right? I'm thinking about the High Priestess card. Even though the High Priestess card in tarot is more like Pisces and Cancer energy, it can be Libra energy too, just because our life path number 2 energy, just because of that intuition, right? It's self and spirit. Does that make sense? In a very spiritual type of way. So core traits of life path 2. How y'all doing? Welcome. What's going on? So life path number 2 is sensitive, caring, and emotionally tuned. So you have to think life path number 2, that duality, they can understand their own emotions, but they also take in account the opposite parties' emotions and feelings and, thoughts on certain things too, right? So a life path number 2 is really good at looking at things from different perspectives and finding that middle ground. A lot of like compromise, they're very good at compromising. All right. So another core trait of like, y'all, my Southern accent is trying to come out so hard. Y'all hear it? Y'all hear it trying to come through real thick? Life path number 2s are cooperative, diplomatic, and a natural mediator. So yeah, you may find a lot of life path number 2s as, mediations. You'll find them in a lot of like the court system. Okay, you'll see them as lawyers, judges. They may even be in the like law enforcement, that kind of stuff. They're really good at. You may see them even in very like healing, like therapy, self-development coaches, those sorts of things. They're also very deeply loyal and relational. Okay, life path 2s need to be around other people. Not as in like a codependent type of way. It's just, that's part of their nature. They're here to bring balance, right? They're here to intermingle and to bring relationships together. You may find life path 2s really good at being matchmakers. Okay. Life path number 2s, you're very intuitive, nurturing, and spiritually connected. We talked about that. You have a straight line to the divine. Okay. You may get a lot of like downloads, or you just know things. Okay. You could just have some of those psychic sixth sense type of abilities, more than just what you can see, taste, hear, feel, or touch in the 3D, right? You've got that connection to higher realms, so you may get downloads, information, or see lots of synchronicities just all the time. All right, we've got and craves emotional security and meaningful connections. Yeah, that's another thing. Life path number 2, right? Harmony and balance. You may feel very out of balance when you get around people who aren't like on the same vibration as you, or they just don't resonate or mesh with you, or they don't seem to, or they may seem like they're committed to misunderstanding you. You don't want anything to do with that, right? It disturbs your peace too much, right? It throws you out of whack. So that's another thing for life path number 2. Shadow sides. Here's some shadow traits for life path number 2. It can be overly self-sacrificing or avoid confrontation, right? You're constantly trying to keep that harmony and balance. Sometimes you forget to think about you. What do you think? What do you feel? What's best for you? What's best for self? Not necessarily everybody else involved. What's best for you? So don't forget that life path 2. Prone to codependency or people pleasing. Yeah. So life path 2s can sometimes get so caught up in creating that harmony and balance that they will self-sacrifice their own self-worth, their own values, just to try to keep that even key. So make sure that you're not getting in that codependent type of way where you're people pleasing, because that only enables the other energy, and then you're not doing yourself justice either. So that's just one thing that you may find about yourself. You may struggle with self-worth when not validated externally. Yeah. So remember, I was just talking about over exerting yourself or people pleasing, right? So you may need to remember that you don't always have to have that external validation given back to you. Okay. So you may struggle with going within and finding that validation within self. Okay. Needs to learn that gentleness is strength, not a weakness. Yes. That may be something too that you may find early on life path 2. I kind of feel like you end up evolving out of this if you're somebody that is, very in tune with your spirituality or self-development, those sorts of things. Is people may mistake your kindness for weakness as you evolve into who it is that you're meant to be before you pass over or whatever. So yeah, you'll learn that gentleness can be a strength. That's not always a weakness. However, people are probably going to mistake your kindness for a weakness, and you may swap it on them. You may be really sweet to them 1 second, and the next thing it's like they cross you, and you're like, okay, you're gone. Deuces. You're disturbing my peace. I'm cutting cords with you, and I'm on my way. I ain't got time for it. Here's some famous life path 2 celebrities. So Barack Obama, known for his calm, balanced leadership and diplomacy. Jennifer Aniston, beloved for her approachable, heart-centered energy. Madonna, surprisingly a 2, behind her bold persona is a deeply relational and intuitive soul. Keanu Reeves, right? Neo from The Matrix. Quiet strength, humility, and depth, a true 2 energy. I feel like Keanu Reeves is a really, really great example of a life path 2. Just his character, just who he is. Not even just as an actor, but just who he is out in the real world as his personal self. We've got Emma Watson, advocates for balance, justice, and compassionate leadership. I feel that too. Really all of them, but I'm really resonating big with if I was to dive deeper on someone's life path, I would definitely be interested in Keanu Reeves and Emma Watson. Hi, how you doing? How can you fix what? What's going on, y'all? You don't know, but it sounds like a 2. Okay, so we'll go over in just a minute. Let me get to 5, and I'll show you how to break it down in just a second. Okay. By the way, if y'all are just popping in, if this sounds interesting and you do learn your life path number, you want to expand on that, numerology.com is a really great resource to find more information on that. There's lots of other information, free information on the internet. Y'all can always go do your own research and educate yourselves on it more. I'm just here to drop that little seed. If it inspires you to go and, expand on and learn more, then absolutely, boo-boo, you go do that for yourself. Okay. All right. Life path number 3. You're the voice of the collective, here to remind the world how to feel, laugh, and dream again. Your energy is pure magic when you stop hiding and start owning your truth. Loud, proud, and poetically real, your words and creativity have the power to heal hearts and awaken joy. Yeah, life path 3. All right, so let's go back, right? Life path 1 is about self. Life path 2 is duality, it's about self and others, okay, external. All right, and then life path 3, I want you to think take it as it resonates, okay? I'm eclectic in my beliefs. I'm an omnist. I believe that there's truth in all religions, but no one religion holds all truths, okay? So I'm very open-minded about y'all's belief systems, and I try to find the connectedness in that so that we're, I can speak to a lot of different people at once. But what I'm kind of getting is the Holy Trinity, right? Father, Son, Holy Spirit, right? That would be a 3, okay? Or Mother, Father, Child, okay? That would be a 3. Are you picking up what I'm throwing down? The triple moon goddess, right? That would be the energy of 3. So It is the number of self-expression, creativity, and emotional radiance. If you're a life path 3, you came into this life with a voice that's meant to be heard, a message that needs to be shared, and a light that's meant to uplift the world. So yeah, you're the creative. You are the communicator. Okay, so if you were a life path 3, you were meant here to share your voice, share a story, share your song, whatever that looks like for you. Okay, maybe you're a writer, right? But you are here to communicate in a very creative type of way, and it's supposed to be very positive and uplifting. It's really to help empower others. So that is absolutely amazing. You're the ultimate creative soul, playful, artistic, magnetic, and full of ideas. Whether through writing, music, art, storytelling, or performance, you have a gift for turning feelings into something beautiful. People are naturally drawn to your energy because you radiate charisma, humor, and charm. I'm really thinking about the Empress here, right? In tarot, if y'all get into tarot, like think about the Empress, right? Very abundant, very radiant, very creative, those sorts of things, right? Charismatic, right? It's holding a lot of different energies all into one. So you're very expressive. These are core traits. Very expressive, very imaginative, and vibrant. So I feel like a life path number 3, you're very artsy. You can be very into the arts, lots of different types of arts, right? Music, paintings, just maybe DIY stuff, or just you appreciate art in general. Not that other life paths don't, but that's just coming out really heavy with this one. Gifted communicator and storyteller, okay? Or again, you could be very creative in the way that you express yourself, okay? You could be a really good storyteller. Emotionally attuned and highly intuitive, yes. So you could be very emotionally understanding, aware of self. You could be very emotionally aware and intelligent of others as well, okay? Very fun, loving, witty, and playful. So you could have very like a light heart, kind of like just a lighthearted spirit, a free spirit. You could be, right, we get into that creative energy. We kind of get into like that childlike nature, that childlike wonder, just to dream, just to let yourself loose, right? Like a child would when they're pretending something, that's where a lot of that creativity comes from. So you can be very inspiring to others and very optimistic. So here's some shadow traits. How do we figure out? Let's see. I got to go down in the comments. Y'all, how y'all doing? Welcome. Thank y'all so much for being here. Y'all be sure to like, share, subscribe if y'all are interested in more information like this. I usually don't live stream information like this. I usually work one-on-one with life path numbers, but I'm switching up a little bit. I'm usually up here reading cards, but y'all have been asking a lot for other information. I'm coming over here from Instagram, so I've really only been live streaming here consistently on TikTok for 2 weeks, but this is something that has been requested a lot, is more information on things like life path numbers, numerology, astrology, that kind of stuff. So crystals, how to use candles, that kind of stuff. By the way, if you're new to me, my platform, my community here, welcome. I'm so excited that you're here and to travel a journey with me for a time. I don't hex, curse, jinx people. I don't do love spells. Okay. I do hex and curse removals, and I try to teach y'all how to protect yourself from other stuff. I try to give y'all enough information to go do your own research and find what resonates with you so you can protect yourselves from other energies, because energy is real. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't see the Wi-Fi working, right? But we know that it's working. Okay, best believe if somebody's staring at your picture, speaking nasty things over you, they're spilling it out into existence, all right? Take it as it resonates, all right? All right, life path number 3. So some of your shadow sides, you can struggle with self-doubt or fear of being misunderstood. Okay, yeah. Being really creative sometimes, maybe you feel like you could be really uncomfortable in your own skin around other people just because, you're just so creative, right? You're so out of the box, and it may throw people off, or it may have people making you feel like projecting the energy of like you're too much or too intense, or just, too out there, just too not fitting a mold or conforming to certain things, so that may sound like you. May scatter energy or start projects without finishing them. Yes. Okay. You may be like starting stuff all the time. Okay. You may be like a DIYer, or you just have all these ideas where you get started with something and then it just falls through and you don't move it to the next. I also feel like life path number 3, you probably get bored really easy with a lot of the things that it is that you do, Maybe you're prone to things like, I'm not a doctor, go do your own research, but things like more neurodivergent type of brain patterns and thinking and learning. Expression. You're prone to emotional highs and lows or masking pain with humor. Life path number 3. You're not going to want anybody to see your pain. So you may mask that. So you may have a self-defense mechanism of humor, right? I'm not funny. I'm traumatized, right? It's not a sense of humor. It's my defense mechanism. Y'all ever heard that before? So here's some famous life path number 3 celebrities, and this is where it's going to make sense. Jim Carrey, master of humor and emotional depth through performance, right? Christina Aguilera, powerful voice and artistic self-expression. David Bowie, iconic creative genius and artistic rebel. Reese Witherspoon, charming, articulate, and full of personality. And Cyndi Lauper, unapologetically colorful and expressive. All of these energies are very creative. They're very empowering, right? They're very inspiring to the world around them and in the content or with their gifts that it is that they give to the world. Okay. Hi, y'all. How you doing? Welcome. Thank y'all so much for being here. What's going on? All right. So life path number 3. What was I going to do? 5? I was going to wait till 5, right? Yeah. Y'all, I got ADHD. I'm neurodivergent, by the way. I don't know if anybody in here is neurodivergent or ADHD or anything like that, but y'all see me get a little scatterbrained sometimes. Just laugh. Laughter is good for the soul, good for the immune system. Okay, life path number 4. Hi, y'all. How you doing? Welcome. Thank y'all so much. I gotta go get my bowl in a second so I can bring in the bowl for you, so we can raise the vibration. Ace and all that love and light back to you times 10. Thank y'all so much for being here. All right, life path number 4. You're the builder, the stabilizer, and the ground visionary. So you're the anchor. I want you to think about 4 corners of a room. Life path 4s. You are representation of stability. Okay. The foundation, the silent powerhouse behind success stories. You may not seek recognition, but your work ethic, you have impeccable work ethic. Life path number 4s are workaholics. They are workaholics. They really are. Loyalty and dedication speak louder than any spotlight ever could. You're here to build legacies that last lifetimes from the inside out. Yes, life path number 4s. You can be very stubborn, It's the number of discipline, what I say, structure, soul-rooted strength. If you're life path 4, you're here to lay foundations, create order out of chaos. So also life path number 4, you harness the energy of life path number 2. Okay. So you also represent that harmony and balance within stability and foundations. Okay. You can build something real lasting and meaningful, whether it's a business, a legacy, or a family, or even an inner empire. Okay. Yes. Life path number 4s can be very family oriented, right? So think about that workaholic, that foundation, that stability. They really like family systems that are, tight knit, those sorts of things, those types of relationships, stable relationships. You're the one people rely on when things get shaky because of how stubborn and determined that you are, okay? Or because of your impeccable work ethic or how dependable that you are. You're loyal, hardworking, practical. Your power comes from your consistency and your ability to turn dreams into action, brick by brick, with patience, persistence, and purpose. Yes, I have found that life path number 4s are some of the most persistent individuals. Oh my goodness, they are. They really, I'm kind of getting like that Capricorn energy, not necessarily meaning that you're Capricorn, but just think about like Capricorn and the goat, right? How do those goats climb those mountains? Those really steep mountains, one little step at a time, but they end up making it to the top, right? With that patience and that perseverance. That's very life path number 4, that very disciplined, reliable type of energy. All right. So here's some core traits for life path number 4. Grounded, reliable, and highly disciplined. You're excellent at planning, organizing, and building systems. So you may really like systems and organization. You may be OCD about certain stuff. Okay. But we need that, right? Like somebody like me, just naturally with my neurodivergent brain, like I'm disorganized, right? I've got stuff laid out all over the place, but I know what is where when, right? If a life path 4 came to sit at my desk, they'd be like, what in the world? It'd be too much chaos. It would need to like order. You would need more order here. Excellent. Okay, I already said that. Okay, so hardworking, loyal, and committed. You value honesty, integrity, and responsibility, right? So yeah, the 4, right? You also harness the energy of 2. So once you think about justice and karma, there's some more of that energy coming out with this life path as well. So we have often seen as the rock in the relationships and community. So you may feel like people come to you a lot for advice or to lean on, because of that stable nature that it is that you hold. But here's some shadow sides of life path number 4. You can become overly rigid, controlling, or resistant to change, right? You're so rooted in a certain type of way or in a decision or what it is that you're building that it may be really difficult for you to let it go if it's not working out, because it's like you're such a hard worker or you're so dedicated to things. It's like you put all this effort and this energy to something that's it's difficult for you to just scrap it and go start over, right? Like a life path number 3, they don't have as much trouble with that, right? Because they're so creative and out of the box, right? They're constantly moving and starting projects and stopping them and moving all over the place. A life path number 4 is not like that at all, right? They have a very difficult time releasing what it is that they've invested into. 143 on the clock. Somebody wants y'all to know that they love you. Somebody says, I love you. I don't know who that's for. May struggle with workaholism or feeling underappreciated. So yeah, life path 4s, they can be overly extensive with their dedication to things, right? You are the person someone always calls to come into work when no one else shows up. You know what I'm saying? And what do? You go into work. You don't say no. And then after a while, when people keep calling you to come in and you keep doing it, you start feeling, you feel unappreciated, right? Because you've overextended yourself. So that's the shadow trait of life path number 4. So life path number 4 may need to learn boundaries with how dedicated they are to certain connections, people, places, and things, ideas, those sorts of things. Okay. You can feel unseen because their efforts are so steady and behind the scenes. So yeah, like 144 on the clock. Okay. So here comes this, many are called, few are chosen energy. So I don't know who that's for. Somebody's being protected during this time. But so life path number 4. So may struggle with work. Where was I at? Yeah, you may feel really underappreciated because you overextend yourself too much. So you may have to have like stronger boundaries sometimes and just tell people no. You may have a hard time telling people no, right? No, I can't do that. No, I can't come in. No, I got to focus on me. No, I can't build your structure. I got to go work on my structure. Here's some famous life path number 4s. It's hard to say. Hi, y'all. How you doing? Welcome. Thanks for the follows, y'all. Thank you for the shares. Thank y'all for gifts. Thank y'all for the supports and all that love and light back to you times 10. I'm glad y'all are enjoying this. Okay, so here's some famous life path 4s. So Oprah Winfrey built an empire through consistency, authenticity, and service. Bill Gates, y'all, baby boy's up. Methodical mind, long-term vision, and practical innovation. I ain't got too much longer. I'll probably have to end this live stream early. Elton John, a strong creative presence with a deeply grounded legacy. Arnold Schwarzenegger, discipline, structure, and relentless work ethic. And Princess Diana, known for her duty, compassion, and grace under pressure. So if that resonates with you, you may want to go expand some more on your own life path number. Again, numerology.com does a brief one for free, and you can buy your whole life path. It's kind of like a booklet, y'all. It's an ebook, but it goes way in depth, about different types, like your karmic number, what's your destiny number, and all that kind of stuff. So, all right, y'all, let me go check on baby boy, and I'll pick up where we left off. We were with 5. So when I start back, we're going to go over how to break down and get your life path number, and then we'll go through 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay. Thank y'all so much for popping in and hanging out with me. I'll try to be back as soon as I can. If I can't show up back up tonight, I'll be here sometime tomorrow. All right. Love and light, y'all. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Sorry about that. Baby boy needed mama for a second, but I got him back to sleep. So we can pick up where we left off. So y'all wanted to know how to break down, how to find your life path number. So I'm about to go over that real quick, and then we'll hop back in with 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Hi, y'all. How you doing? Welcome. Tell you what, while we're waiting on everybody to pop in here, I'll go ahead and I'm going to sage and pause on to it real quick. But we're going over life path numbers. Hey, y'all. Welcome back. What's going on? How you doing? Thanks for the love. Send all that love back to you times 10. All right. Y'all know I gotta cleanse and protect every stream. That's just how we roll over here, okay? Because you just never know. How y'all doing? Welcome. Thank you for the badge. Oh, y'all, I gotta go get my bowl real quick. I promised y'all I was gonna grab the bowl so I can ring it for y'all. Let me go get it. I gotta ring it quietly, but I'll ring it for you nonetheless. How you doing, y'all? Welcome. All right, that's something I like to do for y'all. Y'all show me a lot of love. I like to raise the vibration in here. So y'all sending me all those likes. Hey, we raising the vibration. How y'all doing? Welcome. Y'all can't sleep? It's 1:56 in the morning where I'm at. I'm in Mississippi, of all places on the planet. I'm in Mississippi. Who would have thunk her, right? Okay, so we're going to pick up where we left off. Y'all wanted to know how to break down and find out what your life path number is, okay? So this is going to be a little bit confusing. So again, I'm going to explain it. And if you don't get it, go look it up for yourself, okay? Because there's lots of free information out there where you can go educate yourself on it. I'm just here to inspire, to share what it is that I know, some of my notes, not all of them, but you know. So it's going to look backwards on the screen, but you already knew that. All right. So basically today's date technically is July 15th, 2005. Okay. So you're going to add all the numbers together. So like can y'all see that? I don't even know if y'all can see that very well. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate y'all. How y'all doing? Welcome, TikTok. What's going on? All right. So you see that? I've got the 7 is the month of July, plus 1 and 5 is the day. And then you're going to break down the year 2025, right? So you're going to add them up and you're going to get the number 22. Now, this is a master number, and I'm not going to be talking about the master numbers on this live stream. I'm just going to go 1 through 9. We'll talk about master numbers on a whole another live because it can get complicated. I don't want to give y'all too much information at once. So anyway, so it also breaks down to a 4, right? And that's the life path that we left off of before I had to end the stream, was life path number 4. So you hold the energy of 22 for the day and the energy of 4. Okay. So that's one way that you can break it down for yourself. Or if you want to, y'all doing stuff like this is really good icebreakers for like, if you're like meeting new people, like you start talking about life path numbers and like showing them how to break it down. Like it's really good information, and it keeps like, it can keep a conversation going, so just to kind of put that in your little toolbox in the back of your brain. Maybe next time you don't have anything to talk about with somebody, you can just start talking about life path numbers. You may even impress somebody because you're so smart and you're so intelligent, So anyway, all right. Thank y'all for the follows. Thank you for, oh, dang, y'all. Hey, we raising the vibration. How y'all doing? Thanks for the love. Y'all make me feel loved over here. Okay, life path number 5. Let me get back to my notes. Let me get resituated. All right, life path number 5. Hi, what's going on, y'all? Welcome. Are you new here too? Welcome. So nice to meet you. Why don't you get comfortable and stay for a while? If it resonates with your soul, do so. Okay. By the way, if you're new here, I'm Lady Leo, or AKA my Earth name's Mary. Okay. I'm so excited for you to be here. I'm excited to be here. I'm newer to TikTok. I've really only been consistently live streaming over here on TikTok. I've been on Instagram for a while, so if y'all want to go check that out, but I'm being pushed off that app, and that's why I'm over here. But y'all been great so far. Y'all shown me a lot of love. Y'all been very supportive, and y'all seem to like. I'm usually reading tarot, so I usually do a lot of collective messages. They usually talk about astrology and tarot, but something that Instagram was asking for a lot was for like numerology. So since I'm having to move over here, that's why I'm live streaming numerology and life path numbers right now. But like I said earlier before I had to end the stream, before we got through life path number 1 through 4, I'll post that to YouTube if y'all missed that. If you're life path number 1, 2, 3, or 4. I'll have it time stamped there as soon as I can get it up. Y'all give me 24 to 48 hours to get this stuff uploaded. I am a mom of 4. You know, I've got other things that I got to get done too with my own spiritual work, my own spiritual routines, and then working with other people. So I'll just keep that in mind. Okay, I got a lot of different stuff going on, but I'm here for you the best way that I can be. Life path number 5, you're the free spirit, the adventurer, and the rebel with a cause. Y'all, 5 represents challenges, changes, chaos, and shakeups. Okay. So if you note about tarot, right, and you see those 5s, right, that's what it represents, that conflict, challenges, and changes, you know. So it's also the number of freedom, change, and bold exploration. If you're life path 5, your soul came here to live out loud, right? I'm coming out. I want the world to know. Right? That's life path number 5 energy. So your soul came here to live out loud, break free from limitations. Okay. You are limitless, life path number 5. If you own a business, right, the energy of number 5 can be very like of infinite possibilities sometimes, you know. So even though it can be very challenging, it can be very rebellious in a good way if you know how to harness the energy. You can turn life into unforgettable adventure. You're the wild card, the risk taker, the one who doesn't just think outside the box. You blow the whole box up, okay? Right? Boxes and limitations. No, that is not life path number 5. They do not want to be restricted. Okay. They don't want to be put in little boxes. They want to bust out the seams. Okay. You're a natural communicator, multi-talented. So life path number 5, you're very multifaceted. You're not a one-hit wonder. You have many things that it is that you're good at, you know, or successful at. Curious. Life path number 5s are very curious and endlessly adaptable. That's pretty amazing, right? So even though chaos, challenges, and changes, right, you may be shifting energy all the time or constantly overcoming challenges, but you're very adaptable as well. So naturally, you can get through that, which is a really good trait to have. Whether it's through travel, conversation, or personal transformation, you thrive on experiencing life firsthand. Life path number 5s love to experience things. Okay. You're here to inspire others to live courageously, embrace the unknown, and evolve, right? Again, with challenges, changes, conflict, right? All that is meant here to do that shake up for change and evolution. All right. So here's some life path number 5 vibes. You're here to shake things up, to experience it all, and to never settle for less than freedom and authenticity. Life path number 5 does not like fakey BS. Okay. Life path number 5 likes genuine, bona fide authenticity. You're not meant to be tamed. You're meant to evolve, inspire, and expand. Think expansion, right? All that heat. What do you think about chaos? Do you think about like fires or like, you know, riots or, you know, just all that chaotic energy, right? All that heat. Think about expansion with all that heat. Okay. You're meant to evolve, inspire, and expand. When you embrace discipline as your tool, there's nothing you can't conquer. So yeah, also with discipline, right? You know how to use discipline in a way that is rebellious. So it's that's what's just kind of like an oxymoron of life path number 5 is the chaos. But if you learn how to use self-discipline to your advantage and you can learn how to tame your chaos, it can be very beneficial to you and you can use it to expand on your own life journey or whatever it is that you got going on. So here's some core traits of life path number 5: dynamic, energetic, and freedom loving. Hi, y'all. How you doing? Welcome. Thank y'all so much. Let me ring the bell for y'all. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Thank you for being here, TikTok. All right. So we've got dynamic, energetic, and freedom loving. You're an excellent communicator and storyteller. So think about, what was it? Life path number 3 was also another energy of very good at storytelling or very creative, good communicators. So life path number 5, you were adaptable, curious, and adventurous. Craves variety, stimulation, and new experiences. Life path number 5, you probably get bored really easy. You probably need a lot of brain stimulation. Okay. And that's not a bad thing. You know, you just need more than just to sit there, right? You got to have some sort of stimulation or you're going to get bored and that's just going to lower your vibration. You're just not going to be happy. So here's some, great. Yeah. Often drawn to unconventional lifestyles or careers. So yeah, life path number 5, think about chaos, conflicts, challenges. Okay. You're not going to fit the mold. You like to be the box. So your career field may be different than other people around you, right? It's that rebellious type of energy. You don't want to be like everybody else. You want to be different. You're meant to stand out and inspire others to do the same, to shake it up a little bit. We need that life path number 5. We need that energy of 5 to shake things up when things are stagnant and stuck, right? Think about 4. Fours can be very stubborn, right? That shadow trait of 4. It can be too rooted. It can be too structured, right? So coming into the next energy 5, they don't want any structure at all. There's too much structure coming out of life, or coming out of the number 4, and we add into that. So some shadow traits: you can struggle with commitment, impulsiveness, or scattered focus. Yeah. Life path number 5. I have really experienced that with just mingling, interacting with life path 5s. They have a hard time committing if they're not in that higher vibration or in those core, traits, and they're more in their shadow traits, right? So impulsiveness or scattered focus, right? Not being able to focus on one thing. It's too much. Right. So Mayfair being trapped, bored, or tied down. Yeah. So life path number 5 is not like being filled like they are tied down. They need all that. They need freedom. They need that in the room to expand. Right. That box. I'm seeing like, like you cook bread and it rises, right? Life path 5 doesn't want to be in the pan. It wants to be able to expand as big as it can get without limitations, right? Remember, you are limitless life path number 5. So here's some famous life path 5 celebrities, just to kind of give you an idea. It won't be exact, right? There's a lot more that goes into your personality and your traits, but just to kind of give you an idea of some people who have life, or that are life path 5, is Beyonce, a bold performer and empowered voice for transformation. Think about the shakeup that it is she's brought into the music industry, right? She's really brought a lot of challenges and conflicts, and that rebellious type of energy there, right? Angelina Jolie, that's another one. Fiercely independent, global traveler, and humanitarian. Yeah. So here's another energy where, goes beyond the box, right? You don't fit into this little mold, right? Steven Spielberg, creative visionary who constantly reinvents his art. He is very rebellious, very controversial in what it is that he puts out into the world, right? But also makes you think, right? Very creative in that way. So Abraham Lincoln, a revolutionary thinker who led profound change. That's another big shake-up energy, right? Abraham Lincoln. Mick Jagger, rock and roll icon with never-ending zest for life. So here's that. Don't want to be out of the box. Very free-spirited. Don't want to be tied down. Want to be able to expand and be able to create. All right. Moving on to life path number 6. Y'all, thank y'all so much for the follows, the badges, the likes, the shares. Thank y'all for commenting and engaging. Let me ring the bell for y'all. How y'all doing? Hey, we raising the vibration. What's going on, y'all? How you doing? All right, life path number 6. I'm a life path number 6, by the way. Life path number 6 also harnesses the energy of life path number 2. All right, so this is one of those double whammy life paths. So the nurturer, the healer, and the divine protector. All right, so your vibes, life path number 6. You're the sacred guardian of the heart, here to create safe spaces, build loving communities, and pour your light into a world in need of healing. But remember, your worth is not measured by what you give others. When you learn to nurture yourself first, you become an unstoppable force of love and divine feminine masculine balance. Okay, so yeah, life path number 6 is all about harmony, balance, and it's another one of those energies that is very karmic. Okay, so like we talked about life path number 2. Okay, when you come into contact with people, you could be people's karma or dharma, just dependent. And you may not even realize that you're doing it, So you may feel like people, it's really other people not that you don't get karma and dharma, you still have your own life lessons and karmic cycles to go through, right? But you can be the bringer of other people's karma or dharma, it's your energy that it lives through you. So life path number 6 is the number of love, service, harmony, and responsibility. Okay, I want you to think about heart chakra energy, right? If your life path 6, your soul mission is to heal, protect, and uplift others through compassion, beauty, and heartfelt care. You're the cosmic mama or papa bear the one everyone turns to when they need wisdom, comfort, or just a warm, safe place to fall apart and be rebuilt. You're deeply connected to family, home, and community with a strong sense of duty and divine purpose. You naturally take on the role of caretaker, counselor, and peacemaker. You feel deeply and love fiercely, but your greatest lessons often come through learning to give without losing yourself. Okay. So yes, life path number 6s are very giving, very nurturing. Okay. They're very family and home oriented, or about the community, their space. Okay. That collective group that it is that they're attached to. They're very protective over, the communities, the people, the groups, just the people that they're connected to, the relationships that it is that they have. They can be very positive and uplifting for others, right? I want you to think about just like strength in general. Okay. That strong heart, brave heart energy. Okay. They have a very strong sense of responsibility for others. They like to be of service as well. So here's some core traits of life path number 6. Hi, how you doing? Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. All right. So loving, loyal, and deeply responsible. You're a natural caregiver, teacher, and empath. All right. So yeah, kind of like that dharma and karma that I was talking about. All right. So life path number 6, right? They're very good at, right? I want you to think about life path number 2, that duality. Okay. Life path number 6 can see it from their own perspective, from self, and it can see the other energy or the other side of things, perspectives as well. And that's what that life path 6 wants to do, is bring that harmony and balance to those energies, right? It needs to be an equal give and take of infinite flow, right? Values beauty, harmony, and justice. Yes, life path number 6, you probably like really aesthetically pleasing things. It may come off as vain or materialistic, but I really feel like life path number 6 just honors and appreciates the beauty in certain things. And maybe in a way that other people may not see it, or maybe you can find beauty in things where other people might necessarily, first see it, and you can bring that to other people's attention. Okay. Very artistic, very nurturing. Okay. You like justice as well, right? Talk about that karma. It needs to be equal, law and order, things that are fair and just, right? If someone's doing something wrong and the scales are imbalanced, it makes life path number 6 is very uncomfortable, right? Think about it, right? We just talked about 4, about too much structure, right? We moved up to the 5, which is chaos and rebellion and freedom and expansion. We come back into 6 to kind of bring that harmony balance. You kind of see how we're going like up the numbers, how like it kind of swaps between the numbers, where it's kind of going like a little bit back and forth because of the harmony and the flow of all the numbers together, right? As we're going down the line. So just kind of something to take into account. You may be drawn to helping others, especially through healing or services. Okay. You see life path number 6 is in a lot of like humanitarian type of careers, or, just life paths. Some shadow traits of life path number 6. You can become overbearing. You can be too much. You can be too protective. You can be too much of like a mediator, or trying to insert yourself in that type of way. Okay. Controlling or martyr-like. Yeah. You can try to force things to blend a little bit too much. Okay. If you're in the shadow trait, you may take on too much and feel underappreciated. Yes. Life path number 6. You may be like a yes person, where you're constantly overextending yourself, trying to take care of everybody else, and you could forget about you. So it's very important for life path number 6 to have strong boundaries and be able to tell people no when their plate's full, right? That's not doing anybody any justice. If you can't give your all to something, right, you're not only doing yourself a disservice, you're doing whoever it is that you're trying to commit to a disservice, because you're not able to really give what it is that you need to give, because you're not giving to you. You're not 100% with you yet, right? So that's something that life path number 6 needs to remember. Prone to codependency or people pleasing. Yeah, we just talked about the people pleasing thing. Okay. You don't want to be a yes man. All right. Remember to know your value, know your worth, and have those strong boundaries. If people are taking too much, you got to cut them off, because it's messing up your energetic flow. It's throwing off your balance, right? It's not harmonious. Okay. If people are not respecting your boundaries, treating you with love, respect, and kindness, they cannot afford access into your energy, right? You're very karmic. Now, your karma and dharma for other people, but you also get instantaneous karma. Life path number 6, I know. Okay, I know this. So if you're doing people wrong and you're in an icky energy, best believe that coming right back at you. So it's very important for life path number 6 to try to be in a high vibration and do the shadow work that it is that you need to do, because you are instantaneous karma and dharma. So if you're doing people right, you just like instantaneously, it's like spirit shows up and gives the blessings, or God, source, universe, however, whatever label you want to put on it, whatever your belief system is that you adhere to. Okay. So it also needs to learn boundaries and self-love first. So yeah, you got to love you, life path number 6. So that is the shadow traits that you can be overextending, and you can forget to love you or pour back into your own cup in a way that maybe other people are not doing it, because you can drain yourself. And that does you, like I said, that does you a disservice. So some famous life path number 6 celebrities, just to kind of give you an idea of some other life path number 6s. Princess Diana, known as the People's Princess for her compassion and humanitarian work. John Lennon, a dreamer and peace advocate who shared love through art and music. Michael Jackson, an artistic soul who carried the weight of global attention and responsibility. Jennifer Lopez, family-oriented, creative, and fiercely loyal to her values. And then Gal Gadot embodied the nurturing yet powerful energy of Wonder Woman. So all those are really good examples of a life path number 6. I can see those for a lot of those different celebrities, especially Princess Diana, Michael Jackson, John Lennon, right? Is that humanitarian, or to be of service to others, right? Especially like big, like Princess Diana, her humanitarian work. All right, we're about to move on to life path number 7. How y'all doing? Welcome. Does anybody know their life path number? Let me ring the bell for y'all. Thank you for being here. What's going on, y'all? All right, life path number 7. You're the mystic in the modern world, the one who knows there's more to life than what we can see. Your journey isn't about fitting in. It's about awakening, healing karmic patterns, and guiding others through your example of spiritual sovereignty. When you embrace both your intellect and intuition, you unlock your true power as a divine channel of wisdom. So life path number 7, you are the mystic, the seeker, the wise soul. Okay, you may be a very old soul. Let's see. Also with the number of 7, you have to think there's 7 days in the week, seven colors in the rainbow. There's 7 main chakra systems in the body. It is a very I'm thinking like steps, or like working towards completion, or just, maybe even like Christ consciousness type of energy there. Put it where it fits. Y'all take what resonates with your own life, with your own belief systems. But life path number 7, thank y'all so much for the love. I appreciate that. How y'all doing? Welcome. TikTok showing up. How y'all doing? All right. So life path number 7 is the number of spiritual awakening, inner wisdom, and deep soul truth. If you're life path 7, you were born to go beyond the surface. Okay. Question everything and uncover the sacred mysteries of life. So you really like to see beyond the veil. Okay. You don't like surface level things, right? That old soul. You don't get so caught up in conforming to brand names, or it doesn't have to, be very materialistic, right? You can go beneath the surface of things. You've got a lot of depth to you, and you like to explore depths in other things that it is that you're mingling in, whether that's, connections with other people's ideals, belief systems. You just have a lot of depth to you. You like to go beneath the surface of things, right? that you could be a truth seeker, I do feel like life path number 7s are very truth seeking. You want to know what's real. You don't want the surface level. You don't want the fluff. You don't want the BS. You want the real deal. You want to go beyond what it is that you see just here in the physical. Okay. You're the intuitive truth seeker, the philosopher, the alchemist of unseen realms. So think about mystic, right? You could have lots of psychic abilities, and you can have very strong, multiple psychic abilities. All right. So not only do you pick up from what you taste, see, hear, feel, taste here in the 3D, you can have clear seeing, clear knowing, clear smelling, clear tasting, clear hearing, whatever it is that resonates with you, or it could be all of them, just depending on other aspects of you and your own, specific makeup. But they're highly introspective and analytical. You crave depth, solitude, and authenticity. Yes. Life path 7s. You don't like fakey. Like I said, the whole fluff, the BS, you're not about it. You're just not about it. You want what's real. You want what's authentic, and you want to know like the truth seeking beyond the surface of things. Okay. And you can really pull that to the surface and show that to other people. May even freak other people out. You could freak people out with just like the knowing of things, right? If you ever come across with other people and you just like start talking, they're like, "How did you know that? How did you know that?" Right? You could probably freak people out because you're so accurate, So don't let that steer you away from being the life path 7 that you are, okay? Because you are the mystic. Don't ever forget that, But you're gonna freak people out, and that's all right. That's all right. So you're not here for small talk or tag. Y'all hear my southern accent coming out, y'all. It tries to come out thick sometimes when I'm reading. All right, Leo, come on now. So, yeah, so you're not here for shallow living. You want divine truth, sacred purpose, and real meaning. Whether it's through science, spirituality, philosophy, or mysticism, you're always seeking knowledge that expands the soul. So that's another thing with life path number 7. You're never going to know it all. You understand that. That's exciting to you. You don't want to know it all. You want to learn, you want to keep learning, and it's like you just need all this new information, right? So yeah, you're all constantly going beyond the surface to kind of learn and to gain new information. And you could be really good at sharing that with other people as well. So here's some core traits. You're a deep thinker, highly intuitive, and spiritually attuned. I feel like life path number 7s are really great at holding intellectual conversations, you know? So I feel like life path number 7s are another one of those that really kind of needs that stimulation in that way in their connections with other people, or just like what it is that they're getting connected to just in general. Analytical, intellectual, and investigative. So yes, life path number 7s, you are very inquisitive. Like I said, you really like to learn about your environment around you. It's like you don't just see something sitting there as an object that's sitting there. You're like, well, what is the object? What's under the object? How does the object work? How can I share this with other people? Right. So that's a really beautiful, beautiful aspect or trait to have. So you're drawn to solitude, study, and self-discovery. Life path number 7. You may need to take a break from the outside world, right? Too much surface level stuff. You may need to go within and hermit, or just for introspection, or you need a lot of time to self, or to study, or just for your own self-discovery, where you're learning about self. Because it's like the more that you learn about self, the more that you learn about others, right? Which is kind of different from like a life path 6, or like some of the other life paths where sometimes where kind of like myself, I actually learn a lot more about self by my external experiences around me, right? But life path number 7 is the opposite of that. You can learn a lot about others through self. So you're often gifted to psychic or healing abilities. Yes, you are the healer, right? So you could have natural healing. Maybe you're drawn to like energy work or holistic healing. Maybe you like really natural type of ways of healings and medicines and things like that. You may appear mysterious, wise. People may say that you're an old soul, or that you're before your time, or you're reincarnated. Those sorts of things are ideals. Okay. Some shadow sides. Here's some shadow traits of life path number 7. You can become very overly isolated. So you may hermit a little bit too much sometimes, so you make sure if you feel like you're feeling too isolated, it's okay for you to get out and about a little bit. You can go back into hermit mode, and decompress, right? But every now and then you need to get out there and be a little bit of a social butterfly. Okay. You can be prone to anxiety or perfectionism when things feel out of alignment. Yes. It's life path number 7. It's like, so much that sometimes you may be a little bit too critical of self, or maybe even too critical of others, and it could really make you feel like you're not in alignment with things, right? And that can always be uncomfortable. That's where we fall into like those bad habits, or just those negative toxic traits, or however it is that you want to explain it or interpret it for yourself. But may struggle to trust others or share their inner world. Yeah, just because life path 7, like you're that old soul, you have so much information and truth seeking that sometimes you know too much, and you can like maybe overanalyze things, or pick people apart before you really get a chance to know them, just because you're so intuitive. It's like you can pick up on people when they're BSing you. Like I said, you don't like fluff. You don't like surface level stuff. So if someone's being surface level with you, it's like a turn off. So it can just be where you just have a hard time connecting with other people. Okay, you may struggle to trust other. Yeah. Okay. So you need to balance logic with faith and solitude and connection. So you may feel out of balance sometimes, just because you do have to balance that logical standpoint with the spiritual world, and that can be difficult balance to find. So here's some famous life path number 7s. Hi, how you doing? Welcome. What's going on, y'all? Thank you for being here. So Stephen Hawking, a brilliant mind, always questioning the universe's mysteries, right? Very inquisitive, life path number 7s. Julia Roberts, deep, soulful presence with a quiet strength. Yeah, y'all, Julia Roberts, you wouldn't think like the first person that would come to strength, but if you really kind of look at it, she is. She does really strong, show up very, very strong presence in a very like softer type of way, or a very soulful type of way. Right, Marilyn Monroe, a misunderstood mystic behind the glamour. Right. So yeah, that's very interesting about Marilyn Monroe, right? If you do a deeper dive on her and her experiences and those sorts of things, you know, she was very misunderstood mystic, but just because, you know, everybody gets so caught up with her outer beauty that they didn't go deeper, you know, beyond the surface to kind of see like, you know, how mystical that she really was. Johnny Depp, mysterious, introspective, and complex. And then Princess Grace Kelly, elegant, reserved, and profound spiritual. So are y'all digging this? Hey, y'all, how y'all doing? Y'all enjoy content like this? Let me ring the bell for you. Thank you for all the love. Thanks for the likes, the follows, the shares. Y'all in here commenting, engaging with me. I'm so grateful for y'all. If y'all are new here, I'm Lady Leo, aka Mary. I've been live streaming on Instagram for a while, but I'm moving over here to TikTok. I've been here for about 2 weeks consistently now. Y'all have really shown up and shown out. Y'all show me a lot of love over the last 2 weeks. It's a little bit of a slower night tonight, but I'm not doing tarot. Usually I'm reading tarot. I'm talking about astrology. I'm doing channeled messages for y'all. I'm really big about helping you find empowerment in yourself to overcome any type of suffering that it is that you may be going through, you know, kind of pull yourself out of that deep bottomless pit, right? When we're really going through it, going through hardships, especially when we're going through spiritual awakening phases, right? Because there's more than just one. A lot of people don't talk about that, about how there's more than one spiritual awakening phase, right? It kind of comes in steps. It's kind of like levels, right? And with each new level, there's new challenges that it is that we must learn and work through before we graduate and go on to the next level. So that's what it is that I really love to do. I get a lot of fulfillment out of you know, reminding you what your inner light is, right? I'm not here to give it to you, but I'm here to help inspire you and kind of guide you in that way. You got to do the work. You got to go within and turn your light back on and get that flame going, right? But I'm here to kind of inspire you, remind you that it's still there, right? So if you like that kind of stuff, y'all be sure to be sure to follow me here. And all of the replays are posted to YouTube. So if you missed something, you can go to the YouTube and kind of see like what it was that we talked about on a certain night. All right, life path number 8. Thank y'all for being here, by the way. Hey, we raising the vibrations and all that love and light back to y'all times 10. All right, so you're the boss of the spiritual and material realms. Life path number 8, here to show the world that power, purpose, and prosperity can coexist. When you walk in alignment with your higher calling and act with integrity, the universe rewards you generously. You were born to rise, and when you rise, others follow. Look, there's even 8 people in here. So 8, 8, 8, 8, 8. I want y'all to think about the infinity symbol when we think about the number 8. Okay, it's that infinite possibilities because there's infinite flow of energy that's not blocked, right? It's ongoing. It's equal give and take. So that's where that infinite abundance comes from, right? And life path number 8s, they are very abundant, you know, especially when they do harness that energy of bringing power and purpose into a materialistic type of world, right? So you're the powerhouse, master manifestors, life path number 8s, you know. If you don't have a life path number 8 friend, get your life path number 8 friend. Okay. They're really good at creating and manifesting abundance, you know, and being in other people's energy of being abundant can also bring abundance to you too, right? It's kind of like that energetic, you know, exchange there. So life path number 8 is the number of power, abundance, mastery, and material success. If you're life path 8, you were born to rise. You came here to build empires, reclaim your worth, and lead with vision, strength, and divine authority. You're ambitious, strategic, and fiercely determined. You don't just dream, you execute, right? Master manifestors, right? You dream something, right? You have those thoughts, you can manifest it into reality by using the resources around you or within you, right? So you're ambitious, strategic, and fiercely determined. You don't just dream, you execute. Whether it's business, finances, leadership, or legacy building, you're naturally wired to manifest greatness. You came here to master the material world without losing your soul in the process. Hiya, how you doing? Welcome. What's going on? Thank y'all so much for the follows. So here's some core traits of life path number 8. Natural leaders. You're visionaries. I want you to think about life path number 1. You know, you're naturally here to lead the way in things. You're not going to conform to certain trends because you are trendsetters, right? You're very business minded. So there's a lot of entrepreneurs that had the life path number 8. Okay. They're very good at building businesses or like CEO energy, you know, very resilient. Okay. I want you to think about the goat with life path number 8. Okay. Very that Capricornic type of energy. Okay. But that they're extremely resilient and dependable, and that stubborn energy where you're just not going to give up after going what it is that you want. That master manifest. You're going to manifest it into existence. Come hell or high water. All right. You're drawn to success, financial security, and legacy. So yes, life path number 8s are really concerned not just about this life. They're also worried about the life after that. Okay. After their own. So that legacy to leave behind. Okay. So so think about, like CEOs of like big corporations may have like life path number 8s, or they have a lot of life path number 8s in that business. It's very bold, strategic, and unafraid to take calculated risk. Okay. So that's another thing when it comes to that life path number 8 and that infinite flow of abundance and energy and that manifesting, right? It's about taking chances and risks, right? When we believe in something wholeheartedly and we put all the chips on the table without doubt or without having an attachment to an outcome, a lot of times that's when God, source, universe, or the energy supports you getting what it is that you're wanting. Okay. So think about that, right? So when you start making decisions and taking these big risks in a bold way, and you're not attached to the outcome, you're allowing that room for possibility to happen. Infinite possibility. So here is some. Oh yeah, they have the ability to transform struggle into strength. So yeah, you're alchemizers, life path number 8. You really know how to take the lemons that life gives you and make lemonade out of it, which is an incredible trait or aspect to have. So some shadow sides can become very overly focused to control status or money. So yeah, life path number 8 can get very obsessive. They can be too controlling, too overbearing, They may struggle with workaholism, power struggles, or fear of failure. So that, yeah, you can see life path number 8, putting too much into their work or working too hard or excessively or aggressively towards things, right? Those power struggles. Okay. Think that you're strong leaders. So of course, other energies are going to bump heads with you, right? To kind of fight for that power or, so make sure that if you're working on like shadow work, make sure that you're not coming from a place of arrogance and trying to dominate things, right? There's no need for you to dominate anything. You show up as a natural leader. You don't have to exert or project that out there. You're energetically, you're already it. So you don't need to tell anybody that you're it, right? Energetically, they're going to recognize that. You just, be in your own energy and stand in that way. So lessons around karma, integrity, and spiritual responsibility, and needs to balance material ambition with heart-centered leadership. So yeah, sometimes life path number 8 can get a little bit too caught up with materialism or materialistic things, keeping up with the Joneses, that kind of stuff. So finding that balance is making sure that you're coming from a place of genuinity, authenticity, and what it is, coming from a place of the heart space. Okay. Hi, y'all. How you doing? Welcome. I don't know who's hitting that heart button, but I'm sending all that love and light back to you, times 10. Hey, we raising the vibration. How y'all doing? So some famous life path number 8 celebrities. Oprah Winfrey turned her pain into power and built a global empire. Picasso mastered his craft, created wealth and legacy through art. So you see, that's a really good way of like that balance of that wealth, like building wealth for yourself, but it's also through what he loved to do, right? So with the life path number 8, if you are creating abundance or a source of income, or, you take care of yourself by a passion, by living in your purpose, that's where you become so incredibly abundant, because you're not necessarily doing it for the monetary gain. You love what you're doing so much, the abundance just shows up for you, Tony Robbins, motivational mogul who empowers others to rise in success. Just like that. It's a very perfect example, like Tony Robbins. You can tell he's very passionate about what it is that he does, you know, and because he's in his purpose, he's got a lot of abundance that comes to him. Martha Stewart, business queen who turned her passion into a brand. And 50 Cent, from hardship to entrepreneurship and legacy. I feel like 50 Cent is a really, really great example of a life path number 8 and resilience in the way that you climb corporate ladders or things like that, you know, start from the bottom and making it all the way to the top. Very life path number 8 energies. So if you want more information on your life path number, I've been suggesting that y'all go to numerology.com. I'm not affiliated with them in any way, but it's free to get started on like little brief, detailed, or it's like just like a little summary of like your own personal life path. They even goes off of your name. You can even find out the numerology of what your name is and the energy attached to it. It's pretty accurate. It's very fascinating. But if you buy the little ebook, it expands even more into like destiny numbers, karmic numbers, that kind of stuff. So it's fascinating at how much mine resonated so incredibly that it got me all into this. And I've been studying about numerology for 10 years now. So, all right, life path number 9. Hey, y'all, thank y'all so much for the gifts. I appreciate that. How y'all doing? Welcome. Thanks for the follows. Thanks for being in here. Thanks for engaging. Thanks for letting me know that y'all like content like this, and I can do more stuff like this. Like I said, I'm really more tarot, astrology, and channeled messages, talk about crystals, cards, symbols, synchronicities, just that kind of stuff. So, but y'all seem to want to know about life paths, so that's why we talk about that right now. Life path number 9. You're the humanitarian, the old soul, and the sacred finisher. So you're the soulful closer of cycles, the one who turns pain into poetry and endings into elevation. Your heart is vast, your spirit is wise, and your purpose is divine. When you surrender control, follow your intuition, and trust in divine flow, you become a healing force for collective transformation. I want you to think death and rebirth with the life path number 9. You know, there's where chapters are ending and new ones beginning, cycles ending and new ones beginning, doors closing, but new ones opening, right? So very, like starting and stopping, or endings and beginnings, right? So life path number 9 is the number of universal love, compassion, endings, and soul wisdom. If your life path number 9, your soul came into this lifetime with deep spiritual purposes to heal, forgive, and uplift humanity. You carry the energy of the wounded healer, the mystic with a mission, and the divine teacher who leads through experience. Life path number 9s are definitely old souls. I feel like life path number 9s, maybe you get like deja vu a lot, or maybe you get lots of dreams and downloads of like past lives. You know, I do feel like my experiences with life path 9s is like just like that reincarnation. You know, they've been here before. You know, it's just that old mystical soul about life path number 9. And life path number 9 also holds the energies of all the other numbers. So it's got like all that experience from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, you know? So you're likely lived many lifetimes and carry out ancient wisdom in your aura. You're empathic, creative, and emotionally powerful, drawn to causes bigger than yourself. You came here to complete karmic cycles, right? You're another one of those energies that bring like ending the karmic cycles for people. So maybe you don't even realize you're doing it, just being other people's energy, but you can, like, you know, your death and rebirth. You can bring death to something, or you can resurrect it. You know, it's kind of like that phoenix rising from the ashes type of energy there, right? A lot of that evolution, or, you know, those cycles, endings, and new ones beginning. Yeah, I just said that. So you've likely lived many lifetimes and carry ancient wisdom in your aura. You're empathic, creative, and emotionally powerful. So core traits of life path number 9. You're very compassionate. You're very generous, and you got a lot of depth to you. Life path number 9. Like, it's just incredible at like how beneath the surface that it is that you can go, right? You can probably be really intuitive with other people, and you could really like pull that what's beneath the very like depths of the ocean type of, you know, you could really pull that to the surface in people for them to close out cycles. Right? You have a strong sense of justice and humanitarian purpose. Okay. Highly intuitive, artistic, and a visionary. Okay. So visionary leaders, but in a very spiritual, soulful type of way, right? That old soul type of way. or I said that often experiences major transformations and karmic lessons. Think about that, like Scorpio energy, right? Those death, rebirth, major life transformations, right? A natural teacher, healer, and guide. So yeah, you're here to guide others to heal as well. Just being around people, you can be very healing. You know, just energetically, you can be very healing. Here's some shadow traits. You can struggle with letting go or holding on to past wounds. So I do feel like that life path number 9, you can kind of have a hard time letting go of the past, you know, but you just have so much of the past energy in your present, like it's in your bones. So it could probably be difficult sometimes if you're in a shadow side to let go of the past or just pain in general, right? Think about you are the wounded healer. So you know pain. That's why you're really good at healing others through their pain. You know what they've been through. You felt it before. You've been there. You've experienced it. And you have a lot of experience to share with others to kind of help them through that. Tends to attract emotional, intense, or codependent relationships. Yes. Life path number 9s can be very overly self-sacrificing. You know, they can give too much sometimes if they don't have strong boundaries. Okay. So life path number 9, you're one of those that may have to actually work on building more skills on holding boundaries. Right. And that's okay. That's all right. Everybody's got their shadow traits where their weaknesses are, and you have the strengths, right? But that's just kind of maybe something that you have to build strength on, or you have to find more. You have to build that skill more, is to have boundaries. You know, you need to release with love and trust divine timing. Yeah. Sometimes I feel like life path number 9 can get a little bit too impatient with something, and they may have a hard time, like just because they've been hurt so bad in certain situations that they trusted, you know, sometimes they can have a hard time in trusting in divine timing. So here's some famous life path number 9s. Hi, y'all. How you doing? Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. What's going on, y'all? Mother Teresa devoted her life to service and compassion. Bob Marley used his voice to spread love, unity, and truth. Robin Williams, a deeply sensitive soul who brought joy while carrying pain. Jim Carrey, a comedian turned philosopher with spiritual insight. Eckhart Tolle, a teacher of present moment awareness and spiritual awakening. You can kind of see, like, especially like Robin Williams and Jim Carrey, where they've been through a lot of pain. You know, like a lot of comedians have, right? I talked about that earlier, right? It's not a sense of humor. I've been traumatized. I'm not funny. It's defense mechanism. You know, I was talking about that earlier. I think with was it Life Path 7 or 3 or something like that. I can't remember exactly which one it was. Right. But sometimes, you know, you have to find the funny in something to keep from crying, right? You've been through so much trauma and hurt and pain, and you have those deep wounds that, like, that's just one thing that it is that you're really good at is alchemizing it into a way to heal through laughter, or you try to find the positive in a lot of things. You may switch things in a different perspective. You may make light of really heavy situations at times, you know? So here's some, that's all my notes. Yeah, we're not going into the master numbers tonight. I'm not getting into all that tonight. But yeah, anybody want to know? Do you need to know what your life path number is? You want me to break it down for you? And I can tell you, darling, if you missed the first part, I already recorded 1, 2, 3, and 4. The replay will be posted to YouTube for y'all to see. And then this half of the live stream is 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And I also broke down how to find it. So if y'all give me your birthday in the chat, I'll tell you what your life path number is if you don't know it already. Thanks for the love, y'all. Send all that love and light back to you times 10. Any takers? Any takers, y'all? Hi, y'all. How you doing? Well, y'all need, dang, let me raise the vibration. Y'all ready? It was really y'all raising the vibration. Hey, we raising the vibration. Thank y'all for all the love. I appreciate that so much. Any spirit messages? I'm not doing channeled messages right now. I was just called to do more of like life path numbers tonight. Most of the time I talk about astrology, tarot, channeled messages, talk about synchronicities, the downloads that I got that day, you know, but just tonight, kind of like keeping it a little bit more low key, relaxed, and talking about life path numbers. Like I said, if y'all are new here, I'm coming over from Instagram. I've been on Instagram for a couple years. I've been live streaming consistently on TikTok for about 2 weeks now. Y'all show me a lot of love. I'm liking it over here. This is something that was requested from Instagram. Was they wanted more information about life path numbers, so that's just why I'm recording it over here. And again, the replay will be posted to YouTube if you want to go back and like go back and forth. Maybe you found out a friend's life path number and you want to go check out, what that is, right? So, okay, Yvonne, July 29th, 1991. Okay, so we have 7 plus 2 plus 9, 1 plus 9 plus 9 plus 1. You life path number 11? That's a master number. I wasn't going to get into master numbers, but like that is, let's see, life path number 11. You're very intuitive. That's a very psychic life path number. Again, it's a life. It's a master number. So those are very rare. Those are more rare than the other ones. 11 is your favorite number. 1111. Yeah. See, so you could have a lot of like psychic abilities right there. Very tapped into divine. Again, life path number 11 also breaks down to a 2. So it's a very karmic life path number. So you're one of those people who you're just walking karma in people's lives, whether you know it or not, or dharma. It just depends. Feather 336. You have 6, life path number 6. That's my life path number. That's another really karmic. That breaks down to a 2. So you're like walking karma as well. Your life path number 8. So yeah, you're the master manifester, right? So yeah, life path 8 is that master manifester, right? Very career goal oriented. Life path number 6 is about harmony and balance, very karmic, but you could be very like about family. You're very heart-led. You're very passionate about your community or your connections. You're a protector, right? So that's life path number 6. Who was it? Life path number 11. You're very, very psychic, very tapped into the divine. You can get a lot of like downloads. Not that other energies don't, or any other life paths don't, but just 11's just got that master number energy to it. Very rare. Hi, y'all. How you doing? Welcome. All right. Y'all got any questions? Anybody got any questions? I'll tell you what, TikTok, what are some other things that y'all want to know about over here on this platform? Other than like life path numbers or numerology, and I like to just kind of bring this up from time to time too, just kind of as a refresher for some of us, you know, because like when I'm pulling cards and stuff and y'all see me see like a 8, sometimes I'll bring up like the numerology of the number and what it means sometimes. So if like you're in my live streams a lot or you're listening to my readings a lot, it kind of helps you kind of like understand what it is I'm talking about in a deeper type of way beneath the surface of what it is I'm saying. Because y'all know that like when I'm doing my channeled messages, I have to do it is for entertainment purposes only. Right. So sometimes I have to speak in analogies. Sometimes, I have to swap certain things. So, I'm in alignment with, certain, what am I trying to say? Compliancy, if you will. You picking up what I'm throwing down. So explaining these symbols helps you understand what it is I'm talking about and reading between the lines, if that makes sense. Does that help? Am I making any sense to y'all? 33.6, not much of math. Yes, 33 is. The 33.6, a true 33 now. Okay. Because if you add it up wrong, if you add it up in the wrong order, my life path would come up as a 33, but I don't have a true life path 33. Now I like to pretend that I do because it's such a rare number, so I'll try to like play on my brain and program as if I do have that type of energy, but I'm actually not a true life path number 33. But that's amazing though. So yeah, 11s, 22s, and 33s are master numbers, but I'm just not diving deeper into those this evening. We'll have to do that on another day. By the way, I still have to, I've got a live reading drawing that I have to do from YouTube. Okay. So that's something else that I do, y'all. If y'all watch my YouTube readings, or, play back any, and y'all make it to a certain point, I'll tell you to post a certain emoji in the chat on the YouTube video, and then I'll do a drawing and give a personal reading for whoever won. What else do I need to do? I'm supposed to do all signs readings, y'all, but that takes me hours at a time. So I have to make sure that, my kids are okay for hours at a time before I get started on that. It's hard for me to like start and stop once I'm kind of in it, right? I kind of get into a flow. And when my kids are around, I want to switch over into mom mode, and it's hard for me to stay focused and direct into what it is that I'm channeling for y'all. So just to kind of keep that in mind. So I do so I have to do the all-star, the all signs all-star readings. Y'all getting all these baseball stuff. I don't know what it is. I love baseball. I don't know about y'all, but I've been getting like a lot of references to baseball lately. Thank y'all for the follows. Is there a way to figure out your number other than your birthday? Okay, so y'all, so that's what I was talking about earlier. If y'all want to dive a whole lot deeper in that and just expand on it, I suggest going to numerology.com. Again, I'm not affiliated with them anyway. That's just kind of where I got started. And the information was, you can get started for free, right? With a lot of it's pretty accurate. It's fascinating how accurate it can be. You can put in your name, right? You can learn a lot about the energy of the number of your name. That's really, it's fascinating how accurate it can be just by like the traits that it says that you are, like certain things that's happened in your life, just by the energetic number of your name. So what else? I'm trying to think. Not just with numerology, but I talk a lot about like looking into y'all's charts and learning your charts, right? Because those of y'all that are new to astrology, there's so much more than just your zodiac sign, your sun sign. That's just your soul core energy. It's who you're becoming in this life, right? That's what motivates you. And then, there's your moon sign, there's your rising sign or your ascendant. There's Mercury, being all the different planets has its own placement, and it tells you something about that aspect of yourself, and that's very eye-opening. You can learn a lot about your shadows or your weaknesses. And when you can learn those in and out, you can learn how to use that to your ability, or you can learn where maybe you need to like work more on those weaknesses for yourself, right? You may have natural abilities over here where you don't have to work so hard at that because you're natural at it, right? You have a natural talent or natural gifts in that area. But if you know your weaknesses, you know that, okay, well, maybe I need to spend more time working on this aspect of myself or this shadow trait, so that's just kind of like one way to put it into perspective of like really learning your chart or learning someone else, like with compatibility. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work out. It means that you're compatible and there's potential for you to work out. So I'm not sure if that's making any sense, if that's resonating with y'all, if I'm going over y'all's head, but I talk fast too. I know I talk funny. So if you need me to repeat something, it's not going to hurt my feelings. I understand. I talk fast. I talk funny. I got thick skin, y'all. It's not going to hurt my feelings if you don't understand something, if I have to re-explain it in a different way. The time of birth mean anything? Yeah, y'all. When y'all, it's asking me to do the puzzle. There we go. Nope, I can't get it. It says Leo. What are you doing? There, I got it. Okay. So yeah, when you go to look up your birth chart, I actually do this as a service. I don't have my personal services open right now, y'all. I'm going through a lot just behind the scenes of my own personal life. I'm trying to get my shit together. There's just a lot of different moving parts and pieces going on, a lot of chaos in my life. So I don't have personal or private services open right now. But something I do is like give y'all like your charts, give you like a brief description. But yes, you need to know your birth date, your birth time, and your place, like your city of birth, the city, state, country, whatever of birth, to really get an accurate, detailed version of your birth chart. Your birth chart, yeah, y'all, I'm telling you, like when you start learning the different placements in your chart, it's so incredibly eye-opening. And some other placements that you can check is like your midhaven. Okay, so that's another one, like a way of learning like of how to show up in the world, or like how you show up to other people, how other people may view you. It can even kind of give you insight into like careers that will align with you or that you mesh with. Same thing with your rising sign, right? Your rising sign's your character. It's like, who do you walk out the door and be when you leave your house? That's your rising sign. It's your avatar. It's your character in this world, in this life. Your moon sign is who you are intimately behind closed doors. Not everybody gets to see the aspect of your moon sign, even if you express it fully to people, there's certain aspects or like moon placements that don't ever really express themselves or let people in that the depth of that, right? So it just, again, it just depends on what your chart is and what your placements are. Then there's other things that go into it, like the different houses and what planet is in what house, so again, I like to talk about it just a little bit at a time in like little bite-sized doses, because I'm telling you, it can be really overwhelming and it turns people off to learning about it because it's just so much to learn. So that's something else you have to go in like open-minded and learning that kind of stuff is like, you'll never know it all. There's, you're just never going to know it all. There's always something to learn. So if you're somebody that really likes brain stimulation or like, just like diving in and like never getting to the end of the mystery, right? And then astrology may be something that you want to look into. It just depends. And there's lots of different types of astrology. There's sidereal or tropical astrology. There's Vedic astrology, which is can be even more accurate than the tropical astrology. I like to look at both when I'm looking at my own energy. I like to look at the sidereal or the tropical and the Vedic and kind of like see what's going on with both of those. Sometimes it aligns and sometimes it's different, but I can pull from both. There's Christian astrology, there's Hellenistic astrology, there's lots of different types of astrology out there. It just depends on what resonates with you and what piques your interest on like learning, what works best or what. Okay, hold on, let me go up. Me and my husband looked up our kids' limited stuff, but okay, that's another thing too. Like when you're looking up charts for children, they haven't developed fully into some of those aspects, especially like the outer planets. So their personalities are going to change from like when you're reading their chart at a younger age than into adulthood, so they're going to outgrow and evolve and change over time. So just because it's a certain way as a child, it's not going to show up in the adult life, right? Because there's karmic cycles that have ended. There's a lot of experiences that have been learned, right? There's a lot of changes that have been made over time, right? So it's not always going to like come up in that way. So it may not make sense until later in life for those cycles to have actually happened, or for us to have experienced them in the way that we experience time and space and all that here on this realm that we're in. It's very interesting. They each describe their personalities exactly. Time of birth mean anything? Yeah, a big Farlow. Did you not hear me talk about that earlier, about your time of birth? Yeah. Oh, you didn't know all that? It was more than, yeah. See, how you doing? Welcome. Okay. Yeah. Your time of birth, you need your time of birth for like your birth chart. So now if you want to like do the numerology of the time that you were born, you may get to pull information from that, basically you just add the numbers up and try to get it to a singular number. But it just, just whatever resonates with you. Hi, y'all, how you doing? Hi, Carla Joe. What's going on, y'all? Hi, everybody. What's going on? Do we need to raise the vibration? Hey, we raising the vibration. How y'all doing? Welcome. 3, 5, so that's an 8. That's the energy of 8. That's that infinite flow of abundance. So yeah, y'all, if y'all are ever in my live streams, y'all just hear me like randomly calling out numbers. I'm just calling out codes, I'm just calling out energies, right? Because that's the universal code. It's through numbers and numerology. So like I was telling you, like matrix, binary code, O's and ones, so it just can be really insightful to like read the energy around you, and you can start to learn to communicate with that energy, right? It's been here before we were here, because like the numbers of things were here before we existed, right? In the way that we exist here. So it's not the date number, you're adding them all. Yes, that's what you want to do. Okay, so let's just say that we have the number 123, right? You're literally going to add 1 plus 2, which is 3. 3 plus 3 is 6, but that's a single number, right? So it could be the energy of 6 or the energy of 2, because this can break down to a 2. Does that make any sense? So the overall energy of 1, 2, 3 is 6 and 2. It's got that duality to it, which is about harmony and balance and all that kind of stuff. Karmic, it's very karmic. Hi, y'all. How you doing? Welcome. Thank y'all so much for being here. What's going on? All right, y'all. Just a few more questions. I'm going to have to end it for this evening. And then I'm trying to think. Tomorrow, I don't know if I'm going to have time to be here tomorrow. I've got a lot of stuff to take care of. Thursday, I'm not going to be here at all. So it'll probably be Friday before y'all see me again on the live stream. y'all can check out for some of the like little quick posts that I do where I'm breaking down some of the live streams for y'all to like watch back, or just like clips and stuff of like readings. I'll have those posted to my profile. But I don't think I'm gonna be able to live stream again until probably Friday. So thank y'all for the follows, y'all. I'm so grateful. So again, yeah, if y'all like content like this, if y'all like the question and answer type of stuff, y'all please let me know what it is that y'all like over here. Again, like I said, I usually do tarot, astrology. I do channeled messages. I'm a natural intuitive. I wouldn't say that I'm the best in the world. I'm not a know-it-all. Okay. I'm always constantly learning. And that's what I'm here to do, is just share with you what it is that I know, that I learn, the downloads that it is that I get, and the way that I interpret it for y'all. I try to keep it very eclectic. Again, like I was telling y'all earlier, I'm an omniist. I believe that all religions hold truths, but no one religion holds all truths. You know, I like looking at the similarities of a lot of different belief systems and trying to find that compromise so that I can talk to a bigger group of people, because a lot of them are very similar. You know, it's kind of like a lot of belief systems are trying to achieve the same thing just in different ways, or things are just, you know, tweaked or explained a little bit different, or, you know, the names of certain things are like, it's the same thing, but the names are different, you know? So I like to find the similarities in that, and try to find ways to get in front of y'all and explain it in more modern terms. So you may hear me say, things that are really silly, or I may pull references from movies, or, you know, I get downloads through music a lot, you know, and I feel like that's spirit giving me a very modern way of like breaking it down for us to understand and to like connect on that way, you know? So take it as it resonates. You know, I won't be for everybody. Just sometimes people love to hate me and hate to love me, but it is what it is. You kept seeing the number 45 today. I wonder what that message is. That'd be a 9, endings of cycles. It's the year 9 too. So it's the year of the snake. So it's the year of major endings, major life changes, you know, but the beginning of new things, of that infinite possibility. So I do feel like people are going through a lot of that hardships, those big shakeups, those changes. But, you know, it's the change that it is that we need, right? We're letting the towers come down. We're taking the bricks that it is that we can build on new foundation with, because the only reason why the tower came down in the first place, or those hardships, those conflicts are happening, is because the tower that you had built was built on faulty foundations, you know? So you're given a chance to rebuild bigger, better, smarter, and with that stronger foundation for you to really build the empire or leave the legacy that you want to leave behind, right? So anyway, all right, y'all, I think I'm about to hop off here. Again, thank y'all so much for all your time, your love, your energy, your support. Thanks for just hanging out with me. 3:03 on the clock, 6. 3-3, master manifestor, master builder energy there. Again, y'all don't forget to follow me so you'll see me again. All right. Again, replays will be posted to YouTube. I'll probably break it down into each little life path number that I did and try to like shrink it down so it could be quickly be watched back. So y'all just be lookout for all that. Okay. Thanks again, y'all. Y'all have a good day, a good evening, depending on where you're at in the world, and hope to see you again soon. Love and light.